What's up? What's up, everyone? Welcome back to another session of Coffee and Martial Arts. Salud, salud, salud. Cheers. Oh, yes. Hold on a second. Oh, good. Coffee really good this morning. And so is our guest of the day. Yes, sir. We are very happy. I'm very happy to have here today one of those guys that have been in the art for so many years that it's just so exciting because you get to hear all the stories when they're involved in the arts such a passionate and such a selfless and giving way. And I believe this is the story of our guest of the day. But before we go to the men, Professor Terry Rich, let me do the proper announcements. You know me, guys. Okay, so let me just say that we are going live through our Facebook page, Master Frank Soto. So please like the page and follow us. That really helps us with the algorithm so we can reach more people with this positive message about the martial arts and Kenpo and all the other arts, of course. So please share this video as well. Like and share, that helps a lot. And please leave a comment or ask your questions. Remember, we are here for you. We're also going live through our YouTube channel, okay, at Master Frank Soto KD, Master Frank Soto KD. That is the Kinetic Dragon Kenpo Dojo channel, okay? So you can find us there on YouTube. We have a lot of videos there from a lot of guests and a lot of people that we have interviewed and some other stuff that you might find interesting, okay? We're also going live through the Internacional with a C, because that's in Espanol, International Hall of Fame of Argentina. This is an amazing Facebook page with a great group of martial artists led by Master Juan Martín Álvarez. Saludos, Master. And all the people there, and we are proudly a part of it. We get to promote and to share about the martial arts and about all of these amazing martial artists from all over the world, okay? So make sure you follow us there and you like the page as well, okay? So remember, please leave a comment or ask a question. Like I said, ask your questions. We are here for you. And let me just share this a little bit. Okay, let's see. We are set. Okay, hold on. I need to share this on social media. That's important. Okay, this thing, it's not. Give me a second. Okay, guys, I want to make sure we get the message to everybody. Make sure we get the numbers before we bring in our guest of today. Let's see. Here we go. Okay, we're sharing. And yes, we are sharing right now. Good. Okay, everybody, please send your questions, send your hellos. We are here, like I said, for today. With an amazing guest. Give me a second, please. One more. This is important. There we go. Okay. Sharing this in the groups. Okay. And there we go. Okay. So today, let me just bring in the poster of today. We have a great guest, Master Terry Rich from Carolina Kenpo Karate Alliance. Okay. The man has been around, yes, and he's been not just in Kenpo for over 50 years. He's also been in the movie industry as a stuntman and a martial artist, so he can tell us all about that. And he's also going to be in the Sen of Kenpo event that Maestro Sean Kelly and his guys are going to have on February 17 and 19, next month. So be there or be square. Remember, it's going to be an amazing event like every year. So you don't want to miss it. Okay, so let's bring in the men of the hour, the maestro, the legend. Yes, sir. Maestro Terry Rich. Hello, sir.
Good morning.
Good morning, sir. It's so nice to have you here. It's a pleasure and an honor, sir.
Thank you for allowing me to be with you today, man. This is awesome.
No, thank you for accepting the invitation. It's amazing.
I'm a fan. I've been following the program for a while. I really like it.
Wow. I'm always humbled by those words, followers. It's so cool because I'm just here, sharing about people and sharing about the passion of the arts and stuff, and to have people watching the show is just amazing. Thank you.
Oh.
Okay, sir. Well, thank you for being here today. Before we go and start with the question, we have a couple of people saying hello. Maestro Scott James Sadwell. Good day, Master Soto and Master Rich. Hello,
Hello,
sir.
Scott. Hello, Scott.
Hello, all the way to Canada. Sifu Ernesto Corberner said, saludos, maestros. A big hug from Argentina. Gracias. Sean Gordon says, great man to have as a friend. See you in February.
All right, my brother Sean. Awesome guy.
Nice, nice. Thank you, sir. Hernan Alfiro. Hello, Master Frank. Hola, saludos. Gracias.
Good morning. Good morning.
Okay, sir. So every time we start with we have a new guest, I always ask the same question. Could you please share briefly, because we only have 1 hour, I know it's not enough time, but could you share a little bit about your background, how you started in the martial arts, and how you got to where you're at today? Please, sir.
Well, in my case, it's a long story. I was a child, a 12-year-old guy out in Texas. My father was in the military, and we moved around the world quite a bit. But I started my martial art career at 12, right before my 13th birthday. Sort of a strange thing happened to me.
Okay.
The schools were being integrated for the first time. It didn't mean nothing to me. I mean, I grew up in the military, so I was used to integration. That's no big deal. We had I played football that year, and we had a guy in the school that came, and he was a Golden Glove boxer in Texas.
Wow.
His name was Monroe Brooks, which later went on to be a welterweight WBC, WBA boxing champion.
Wow.
And I guess I was just a little guy that he wanted to set an example. Everybody look at me, that's what I could do. So one morning he jumped on me in the hallway and just beat me down.
Oof.
I had never been in a fight in my life, didn't know what to do. And so I was very concerned and worried me really bad. So my mother said, I'll teach you how to defend yourself. So she took me to the boys club, local boys club. And I was all excited. I learned boxing, bought boxing gloves, went in and sit down. And there's probably about 10 of us first day in.
Mm-hmm.
And the coach come out and says, all right, you guys come with me. And the new guys go over here with this guy. He'll come out of the office and be your teacher for the day. So I'm not excited. And out of the door come walking Monroe Brooks.
Oh.
I lost it, man. Man. I got up and run all the way home. Just tore out the frame. I didn't want to take another tail beating like I got then.
Oh,
So
I hear you.
My mother, neighbor, her son was a senior in high school, and he was a Taekwondo guy.
Okay.
And so they took me to the base gym, and I started taking Taekwondo Mudaquan. And that went on for a while. Wasn't quite my forte. So another friend took me to my first Kenpo class. And what I saw with my own eyes at 12, 13 years old, I just could not believe what was being shown in front of me. And so I was hooked and been at it ever since. This is 1967 when this occurred.
Wow.
And I've been doing it. My first instructor was Brian Hawkins in Wichita Falls, Texas, and I stayed with him until we moved. Like I said, I was a freshman in high school, so 4 years went by. We moved to Alamogordo, New Mexico, and there's a whole lot of Kenpo guys in El Paso and Albuquerque, big time Kenpo place. Angie Colada's from there, from Albuquerque, good friend of mine.
Wow.
And so we bumped heads with some of the same people. Been at it ever since. I moved to Carolinas in 1974. Okay. Wasn't anybody around doing Kenpo. And so somebody told me there's a guy over in Goldsboro, which is about an hour from me. He said, hey, go over to see this guy. He does this Ed Parker thing, man. Go check him out. And I went over, and I was doing Tracy's and didn't realize I was doing it. Tracy's Kenpo is a little different. Okay. I know the history between the Parker and Tracy and the organizations.
Right.
And so I started with the guy's name was George Sewell. He's an ex-Navy SEAL. And I've been doing that ever since. Professor Sewell has passed away now. kind of left me out here in the middle of nowhere. Mr. Parker told me, said, you're out in the woods somewhere, man. There's nobody around you. I had the opportunity to be around Mr. Parker several times, and
Nice.
very lucky to have met him and been in some of his seminars. Never took a private class or anything with him, but it was always seminar-related stuff that we did.
Nice.
And so I've been in a little farm town in the middle of North Carolina, the largest county in the state of North Carolina, of a population of about 12,000 people. And the good Lord's kept my door open for that long time. So that's kind of like my history. I did sport karate. I chased that circuit for a lot of years. In fact, that's how I met Mr. Sean Kelly, through sport karate stuff. I went on to be a boxer and a kickboxer. I won several titles in kickboxing, not major titles, but some big titles in my area. Later went on to be a IKF, WKA, PKA referee, licensed referee with them, and still hold some of those titles today. You can see there's some pictures of me doing some referee stuff there. Couldn't get out of the ring. If I couldn't fight, I'd get in a referee.
Nice. Nice.
So I teach 4 days a week. That's what I do, man.
So you started American Kenpo in 74. You started Crazy's Kenpo in 67, you said?
67. 67 was my first experience to Kenpo was the Tracy system.
And
Tracy system, right.
Did you get rank in the Tracy system, sir?
I made brown belt with them. I sure
brown
did.
Belt.
That's my highest rank with them.
And then you migrate to American Kenpo or Ed Parker's Kenpo, which you didn't know the difference back then, I guess.
No, I didn't. I really, if you know the system a little bit, the forms are the same up to form 6. 6 is different with Tracy's, but they did all the same form: short one, long one, short two. They did all the same thing. Little changes in it, But I migrated because Mr. Parker saw me do a form in Boston, Massachusetts, at a tournament up there, one of the largest tournaments up there.
Okay.
And he had Kemp on my back, and he said, "Come here, man. I want to talk to you." All right. I didn't know who I was talking to, really. And he said, "My name's Ed Parker." And I'm like, "Oh my gosh.
Wow.
This the man right in front of me." And I got heard all these stories from my teacher, because he was my instructor was direct descendant from Parker and Steve LeBounty.
Okay.
Mr. LeBounty was from Oakland, California.
Right.
Which he just recently passed, bless his heart.
Yeah, I heard. Yes.
Great man.
I met him. Yes.
So Mr. Parker says, "Why are you not doing Ed Parker? That's the form you just did." And I won my division as a black belt. He said, weapons division. He goes, "Why are you not doing my system?" So I never had the opportunity. He said, "Well, today's your day." And so I joined him. Let's see. I joined Mr. Parker's organization, formally joined it in 1981.
Okay.
I've been with him ever since until his death, and now it's everybody's kind of got their own thing going on now. So,
well, yeah. And when did you start teaching, sir?
1978. I started teaching in the local recreation department.
Wow.
So I started from the ground level.
Yeah. Okay. And you got your black belt in Ed Parker's Kenpo when?
I was promoted to third degree black belt in 1987.
Third degree.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Prior to that, when did you get your black belt? I'm just trying
black belt for me was 1979. 1979.
Wow.
Yep. Special day to me. It always will be.
That's so cool. Yeah, like I said earlier, I was born in 72, so and I don't feel young, not that young anymore. I mean, I'm 50 now, but still 50 years young.
Well,
so you've been in the arts for almost
54 years I've been doing martial arts.
Almost 55 now.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yep.
Wow, that's amazing. And why stick to the arts? I mean, you've been saying you've done it ever since. Why?
I'm glad you asked that question. It's me. I have this desire to be a warrior. Ever since I've had that first altercation I had, even then, I tried to fight back a little bit by being bullied. And that's one of my pet peeves about being bullied. Okay. And I realized that within me, there's that tiger and there's that dragon inside of me, just there all the time. and I just pursued it. It's has a calming effect over me for some reason. I don't know. I mean, some people run from the fight. I run to the fight. And my law enforcement years I did told me the same thing. You don't run from the fight, you go to the fight. And so I've always had that desire, to express myself with my skills that I worked so hard on for so many years. And it has sort of a common effect on me, believe it or not.
Nice. So, with all due respect, you're one of the, I'm going to say this very respectfully because I say this all the time. You're one of the crazy ones that run towards the bullet, not away from the bullets.
That's right. That's
right. I mean, you are the protector type. That's cool. So you also been in law enforcement.
Yep. I just recently retired about a year and a half ago from the local sheriff's office here. I worked court bailiff stuff, regular road deputy stuff. I also worked domestic violence, which is very, very rough and hard to deal with.
Oh yeah, I've heard.
Had some experiences with that, but to be in law enforcement, you got to want to help people. And my background in Kenpo, by being around large crowds of people, helped me in that job so many ways, Mr. Soto, that it's hard to explain. You got to want to help people, and the world needs people to help each other. My dad used to tell me at the time, everybody needs a helping hand sooner or later, and I've always remembered that. And so my Kenpo training taught me how to help people and encourage people, that they can always do their best if they just put their heart into it.
Nice.
And I worked 7 years as a contract trainer for the U.S. Department of Treasury, which we work with many different law enforcement groups, Secret Service, ATF, U.S. Postal Office. Most people don't know that the U.S. Postal Service has a very large law enforcement background in it. So, yeah, I really enjoyed that working at the federal level.
Wow.
Worked with the U.S. Marshal some, I did that with the sheriff's office. I worked in conjunction with the U.S. Marshals and my local sheriff department. I was attached to them for about 5 years.
So you've been around, sir.
Yeah, I've been around.
Okay, and how's that? All of that experience that you have had as a deputy sheriff, and working at the federal level and all that. How does that wisdom gain, because that's what you get, have affect your position as a teacher, as a martial arts instructor?
Learning how to communicate.
Okay.
That's the key to teaching people, is to be able to communicate.
Nice.
The martial mind that I've been working hard on a long time to achieve has taught me that confidence, to communicate with others that don't seem to have maybe what I have or others like me have. And so that they can become better as a human being. We were all trying to be better human beings in our life. And I found that my communication skills were an asset to me, especially in law enforcement. You have to be able to communicate with people, sometimes in a very positive way, and sometimes not so positive. Today's world in law enforcement, it's tough, very tough to be a law enforcement officer today. A lot of people don't appreciate what they do.
Oh, yeah.
And there's a few that do. Oh, yeah. But the communication skills where I really honed in my ability to teach and share with people, even from the youngest of 4 years old right on up to 70-year-old people. So that's what I say, communication.
Nice. Well, if I may say, I'm not a U.S. citizen, but still I'm a citizen of the world. So thank you for your service, sir. It's always good to have good protectors out there. I mean that. It's really good to have good protectors out there protecting the community and the society and helping out, like you said.
Thank you so much. That means a lot to me and a lot of other people like me.
Oh, no, and that's so cool. I do appreciate the job of police officers and law enforcers and all the people that are there to protect the community. So, and that being said, now I will ask the opposite. How did your Kenpo training help as a police officer, and why did you stay with Kenpo? I mean, because in policing, a lot of people will go to, I don't know, to a grappling art, to a jiu-jitsu art or something like that for the restraint and all that, but you stayed with Kenpo. Is there a reason for that?
Well, part of it was because logistics where I'm at.
Okay.
And I started, my mother art was Kenpo. I've done Taekwondo. I've got some degrees in Taekwondo. modern arnis under Grandmaster made precise.
Nice.
That you see Shaolin Kenpo, which is a little different to the Japanese version from Soki John Stover, which is the only living instructor besides Mike Pick that I got. Everybody else has passed away and gone. But my Kenpo helped me so many ways in my law enforcement. We study this height, depth, and width training in our art. I can catch people doing things that average guy wasn't looking for. I can kind of tell body language and stuff like this. My Kenpo helped me a lot of time and keep me in a very secured area, or so I wouldn't be caught obscured with stuff. So it helped a lot of times. I can tell you some stories are not so nice. One of the bad things you do sometimes you have to lay hands on people, and that's not what I took the job up to do.
Right.
But it kept me safe with the many times I've had to touch somebody. So yeah, Kenpo helped me a lot of ways, and it kept that spark in me. It made me get up and go to work every day. I enjoyed it, but I always had that confidence and about me. I could just tell it. Sort of that Zen thing that we would talk about. That comfort zone. So it's what I do.
Nice. Would you say, in your experience as a law enforcer and all that, would you say that Kenpo works okay on the street?
Absolutely, no doubt about it.
Nice.
I experience other martial arts, and I'm not taking from anybody that's martial art. That's not what I do. I respect them all. I respect the people that take the time to teach the real arts. But yes, it's very, very effective in a street situation. If you train, there's people that mess with it, and there's people that actually seriously train it.
Of course.
And that's what I've always done, took it very serious in training.
I guess it has to do with the goal when you go into the dojo or the studio, right?
Yeah, well, everybody says, Master Rich, you walk in here limping sometimes, but as soon as you snap that black belt on and step on the mat, you become a different person. I think we all do. I think we all, as martial artists, once you snap that belt, step out there on the floor, you become a different person. Your mind kind of comes together. So I always have the heart, but to get the mind and the heart together in the body, it takes a lot of years to get that. They say, well, in Kung Fu, that the chi, or the karate people go, you got to have that. And it takes a while to learn that.
Nice. And in all of these years that you've been at, or in and at the martial arts, what are the changes, the significant changes that you see from when you started and today?
Wow. Major. I mean, major.
I bet.
Oh gosh. Back in the days, I had this conversation, and I don't talk a greatly deal about it, but one of my trainers was Joe Lewis. Joe was from Knightdale, North Carolina.
Nice.
And I'd sit and talk with him. He come out of retirement to go back in the ring full contact. Joe stayed with me. And the reason he stayed with me, I stayed between two large military bases. And what he would do, he'd spar on a regular basis with the Fort Bragg Army boxing team. And he next week might go to the Marine base in Jacksonville, North Carolina, and train with them. So I was in between, and I had a dojo. So we got to know one another from tournament stuff and kickboxing, and I learned. And one of the things I learned from him is how much it changed from the day he started, even when the day I started, how much it has improved. We've got smarter as human beings. We understand mechanics. We also understand the human body. We understand the human nature. And so I've seen a lot. The training in the first beginning with Tracy's was one way. And then I became part of the Parker group. And it is completely keeps changing and becoming much better because we understand things much more clear now than we did in the past. There's that competitive side out there in the world that people really enjoy competition. I was one of those guys, but the real world, I've seen the change in that, how we make our presentation with people.
Okay.
Physically and mentally in what we do. And so I've seen a great change. Mechanics has changed tremendous because we've become more educated. I tell everybody, if you've not read out Parker's books, Inside Infinity of Kenpo, you should read those because it'll wake you up. I tell everybody, I've read book 4 probably 10 times. I'm not joking. At least, and every time I get something out of it that I did not understand, it just gets better.
Yes.
So the way people live and act and behave is much different now than it used to be. So people are more aggressive now. I see our society as being very frustrated right now, very stressed out. And so people are a little more aggressive and assertive than they used to be. The love for one another is not like it used to be. I hate to say that, but that's the way the world is right now.
Oh, I agree. I see the change as well. Wow. So you see that change not just in the martial arts, but also on the streets as a law enforcer.
Right. Yeah.
Okay.
If you look at the sports side of karate, no, I get asked all the time, what was the one thing you think changed sport karate? This guy's name was Jun Ree. And he introduced us to foam dipped sparring equipment. When I first started, we were knuckle punching each other big time, and it was always to the body. He allowed us to start hitting the head and kicking the body with a little more protection. So that was a significant change in the art of sport karate, which, sport karate, what does it do? It just gives you conflict or street situation because now you're hitting the target instead of kind of hitting the air, Parker taught 3 levels of fighting: no contact, light contact, and full contact. You have to go through all those stages to be really good at what you do.
Nice. So you really suggest to spar a lot in your training?
I think it's important because of time. There's 21 principles that Parker taught. I say 22. I said that to Mr. Parker one time. He looked at me strange, like 22. And Richard Huck Pilates said there's not 22 principles and concepts. I said, yes, there is. Well, what's the 22nd one? Apply the first 21 at all times. And Mr. Parker got the big laugh out of it when I said that. But the sparring helps get timing and keeping erect posture and speed and marriage of gravity and economy of motion. All that helps you train that, get that working for you as you spar. That timing is very, very important in the martial arts. Without timing, you won't last long in any fight situation. So, yeah.
Nice. And out of all those principles, those 21 principles, which one do you think it's the most important one?
Like I said, timing.
Timing.
Erect posture, relaxation, speed, and all that is good. But if you don't have timing, none of it's really, to me, is very effective.
So you would say that timing it's more important for you than power or speed, or it's all together?
Kind of all together. You take the first technique, delayed sword. If you don't have the right timing on that, when you step back and hammer that arm and shoot that kick in the groin and hit the breaker nerve, if you ain't got the right timing, you don't see what's happening in front of you, it's not going to be quite as effective. So you have to train that timing to make it work.
Okay. I'm always learning when I have new guests, and don't get me wrong. I really always want to learn from different perspectives because I feel myself as a student all the time. So how would you define timing? How do you teach that? How do you, if I may ask?
Okay. Well, the timing is the ability to move from point A to point B.
Okay.
And so our art is based on a self-defense system, and so if you kind of look at if someone is executing some type of a threatening act at you, which is an assault, and an assault is what? Any unwanted touching by law. And so if you watch somebody trying to punch at you, grab at you, kick you, or take you down, if you're not watching that person, his height, his width, the depth between the two of you, and keeping your obscurity in check at all times, and his also. If you don't watch for that, you won't have the ability to mechanically get in position. The first thing we learned in Kenpo is the stance. I don't know how many masters I've been with that says, if your stance ain't good, you're not good at all either. And it's very true. Boxing is the same way.
Okay.
You hit that stance so that you can hit that trigger point in your body so you're able to stop that individual and what they're doing. I'm not talking about knocking people out or whatever, killing people. I'm just plain plumb stopping that person and what he's doing. So you may later develop other skills in what you're doing. But time is the ability to go from one point to another point at a given time. And you won't always have that upper hand in what you're doing. So that crispness of timing between the two. That's that and then we talked about in American Couple. Closing that and then down or removing an and then, period.
Nice. Thank you. That's very good explanation. I really appreciate that. I'm sorry for taking a free lesson with you right now.
It's free, brother.
Thank you so much. No, I really appreciate that because sometimes we get people and they don't understand. For example, in Kempo, why is it that we move the way we move and we go through the motion so fast, for example, and it has to do with moving from, like you said, from point A to point B, right?
Mm-hmm.
So
if I may give a history lesson for somebody. The WKKA, which was Joe Palazzo group, when Mr. Parker died, I became a part of that group, myself and several other people. Mr. Kelly was one of those. Other people that are well known from, especially the eastern side of the United States. We were doing a seminar. Mr. Palanis was teaching a class. We're going over the technique. Everybody loves to see five swords. I don't know what's the mystery on the five swords. It's a lot of movement, and to be just in the purple belt area, that's a lot of movement. And you got to execute perfect technique in that technique. Yeah. So there was probably, Mr. Soto, probably 35, 40 guys just to the first line. There was another line behind me about that many.
Wow.
And he was calling out command to do five swords. He said, I want you to do it as fast as you can, And so he says, go. Well, you hear all this geese just snapping and popping like Rice Krispies. Pow, 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 pow. And he stopped and he said, you know something? We got a celebrity in the house. And I'm like, wow, who's he talking about? Mr. Rich, step out. I went, oh, Lord, here we go. What's going on this? He said, I want you to do that technique again. So I ripped it off really hard and quick. I said, good. He may get back in line. And then he explains to me about timing. This is my first really to understand timing, what's going on. Your first contact on five swords for me is the knee. I attack the knee with a forward bow and drive that arm right, my forearm with the inner block straight to the arm. And of course, I just let it flow. He said, the human body doesn't respond to speed sometimes. Have you ever had a paper cut?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. And sometimes is it retro instantly or is it sometimes 2 or 3 seconds later?
Yep. Sometimes later.
He said, you got to understand everybody responds differently. So if you go too fast, you're not going to get the reaction you want because we're reaction-based martial art. You're not going to get that reaction like you think. Sometimes you got to kind of take it a little slower, set the guy up. There's majors and minor moves in what you do. There's what you got to really hone in on. So I learned that kind of the hard way. I was kind of embarrassed after that because I was proud of being fast. Then I found out I need to slow the heck down a little bit. So I tell that to my students all the time because they got some people that got real fast motor twitch nerves and some are a little slower. And so you have to teach them that, timing from point A to point B has to be significant and it's all about reaction.
So you would say that timing is more important than going fast?
Yes. And the reason why, well, this we'll talk, say in that particular technique, that angle step with that spear hand, what is usually taught to the solar plex, or driving a straight in vertical punch. If you don't get there the time the body's reacting to my strikes to the eyes and throat, you're not going to get the same effect by going too fast. You'll wind up going right past that punch to the shot to the neck with the hand sword. So you want to be able to hit that major move right there on that solar plex with that punch. You got to get the timing right. Get that body so it responds correctly.
I see. Oh, thank you. We have a couple of comments here. Let me just bring the comments in. Let's see where we at. Okay. Norman Jensen says, hello from Florida, Master Rich. One of my favorites. Hope to see you again at the Son of Kempo.
Oh, brother, I'll be there. Good to see you, Norman. Talk to you soon.
Nice. Jose Pedro Cuna, saludos, Master Frank Soto, Master Terry Rich.
Thank you, Jose.
Saludos. All the way to Brazil. Thank you.
Ooh.
Cynthia Menendez, greetings, teachers. Blessing from Guatemala. Thanks for sharing experiences. Yeah. Great Master Frank. Oh, thank you.
Thank you, Cynthia.
Thank you. She says, it's nice to hear a teacher with so much experience, but who is humble, empathetic, and humane. Congratulations, Master Terry Rich. Wow,
Thank you so much. You're very kind.
that's nice. Yeah, I agree. I agree. That's nice. Juan Martín Álvarez, saludos maestros desde Argentina, from Argentina. Saludos,
Argentina,
gracias.
yes.
Okay. John Anderson, Mr. Rich started my journey. He's an amazing person.
Oh, great to hear about John. I hadn't talked to him in a while.
Cool. Thank you for sharing, sir. I agree. I agree. I've just met the man and I feel like I've known him for many years. You have that sir. You have that personality, you know. You one feels comfortable when they're talking to you, sir.
Thank you, sir. You're very kind.
Thank you. So we have some photos that you nicely share with us, and I have one that I need to ask, of course. Well, there's two of them, but one in particular. Ta-da!
Yeah, that precedes me everywhere I go, looks like.
Well, I was a fan. I was in high school when this happened. I was actually finishing high school. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles were a big thing back then, and then the movies, of course. So I didn't know I was going to meet one of the stunts and martial artists who were a part of this. So could you elaborate on this, sir?
Well, the first movie I worked in was Cyborg with Jean-Claude Van Damme and a couple of the local guys. I was an extra in that movie. And when they were coming to North Carolina to shoot the turtle movies, I had no idea what the heck a turtle was. No clue. One of my students says, "Oh, they're a cartoon group." And I thought, am I going to be in a cartoon? And so Chuck Norris, a friend of mine from the many days in the martial arts,
Wow.
called and said, "You look, my head black belt, Pat E. Johnson, he's the stunt coordinator for the Karate Kid movies. He's coming to North Carolina and are looking for somebody to do some special stunts. And I would appreciate if you could get some of your guys together and go down and do an audition."
Nice.
So we went down to Wilmington, which is De La Rente's film studios, and I did an audition. And I lucky enough to land out of about 50 people, land that position, and they were looking for people that could do swords and sticks and nunchucks and stuff and jump off a building, jump through walls and stuff. And so I got the opportunity to do the first turtle movie. That picture you saw right there with one of the turtles, those guys were amazing. These were little guys. They're very, I say little, 5 foot, 4'9", 5 foot guys in these little rubberized suits. And I was like amazed how hot they were and how they could do what they did. I worked as a foot soldier. I doubled as a shredder a couple times in the first movie. There you go. And because I'm about the same size as the guy that actually played the shredder itself.
Nice.
A lot of work. 15 weeks of hurry up and wait. Hurry up and wait. We rehearse, wait, and then we do about a maybe 2 or 3 minute scene, and that'll be into that. But I got the opportunity to do all three of them. And Mr. Johnson, Pat Johnson, like I said, a good friend of mine. He's a Tung Sodo guy. He brought me in for 3 of the movies, and I brought some of my black belts and some other guys from around the country to do those movies. So,
nice.
Interesting.
Nice. That's
a lot of experience, and I did a lot of networking with that. I learned how to network a little bit in those movies with other people, so it opened a lot of doors for me. You know, I got to do other movies after that, so doing stunts.
beautiful. Very nice. Well, I have some other photos here. Let's see. We got this one.
Oh yeah, that's the Carolina Dragon Fest that I put on, and that's the one of them that we did in Fayetteville, North Carolina. And I had Grandmaster, my instructor, Mike Pick was there, and Soki John Stover.
Nice.
Several nobles. Norman Sadler was there, Daryl Lee. So you can see quite a few Kenpo people come out, showed up for that.
Nice.
Sean Kelly came. He came and did a great presentation for the children. Yeah, Mr. Kelly.
Nice. Very nice. Okay. Let's see. We have another one here.
Yeah, that's my local groups here in my little hometown. Some of my students.
So, do you have a studio right now, sir?
Oh yeah, I've had a studio since 1979. Yeah, I started a recreation department. I moved to another place downtown, and in 1990, I built me a building. 40 by 70 building that I built, and I've been keeping it going ever since. Good Lord's kept that door open, man.
Since 1990 that you built it.
1990, the building I'm in right now, it's still going today, 4 days a week.
Wow. Wow, that's amazing. And then I got to ask this question. Where do you get the energy and the will to keep on teaching?
That spark
Yes.
of the spark of life. And that's that chi we talk about. I just love it. Some people like to hunt and fish. Some people like to snow ski, whatever. I just love sharing. People walks in my building and said, "Look at all them trophies you got." I said, "You know what? I learned I could buy those. You can't buy people." And so for me to now have my people as trophies to me, how I can make them successful, confident, encouraging them to go out and tackle the world and be whatever you want to be. That's what I got going on. 4 nights a week, a couple times during the day for private lessons. But yeah, that's what I got. I'm very
Wow.
blessed. Very, very blessed.
So nice. You teach kids as well, sir?
Oh yeah, we started at age 4, and we have a kids program, and a stop the bully program I have going on. 4 days a
Nice.
week. So little kids and
Uh-huh.
teenagers. I got a great teenager program. Man, the surgence of teenagers in karate is amazing to me now, because I got a term. You didn't used to see 14, 15-year-old kids out there because their mind was on a telephone. They wanted to be out there doing karate. Man, they just beaming with energy now.
Beautiful. Beautiful. That's so cool. Wow. I'm impressed. That's so cool. I mean, teaching for so many years and having that same passion. I mean, I can tell
Mm-hmm.
just by the way you talk. So, well, thank you. As a Kempoist, it's so cool because uh, it's because of people like yourself, sir, that we have a profession today. I mean, I do this as a way of life. So, um, you're the guys who set the path for the new generations and the generations that are still going and the generations to come. So, thank you.
That are man, Mr. Parker said that something to all of us as a representation. His karate term at the internationals have been a couple times, and that eternal flame that we wear on those that competed in the international,
Hmm.
that flame. If you ever get the bug for Kenpo karate, I'm really any martial art, I should say. You get that flame. You don't want that to burn out. You want that to always be burning inside of you, burning to learn new knowledge, new experiences for you. Keep yourself in good shape. That's really important.
Nice. Yeah. Beautiful. I like that. Okay, let's see. We have a couple more comments here. Ricardo Contreras said, Salud, maestros. Excellent teaching. Salud from Lima, Peru. Gracias. Saludos, Ricardo. Gracias. Mary Hallett. Wow, such amazing and inspiring experiences. Much respect to you for you, sir.
Yes, my new friend. Yeah.
Thank you. Well, I also got to ask, what was it, being around Mr. Parker? Because a lot of us, I mean, I started Kempo in 94. I started martial arts in 85, but I started Kempo in 94. So I never got to meet the man. So what was it to be around him? How was it?
I've only met 2 people in my martial path that when they walked in the door, there was an aura about that person that lit up the room. And I actually say that's Grandmaster Parker, Senior Grandmaster Parker,
Mm-hmm.
and Legend Joe Lewis. They had a persona about them. When they walked in the door, you just knew that person was something about different, about the confidence, the way they spoke, the way they carried themselves, their intelligence. Mr. Parker had this thing about him that I've never met anybody like this. He could remember your name. You see your face, it may have changed, but he remembered your name. I was in Charlotte, North Carolina with my instructor, and elevator door opened up, and Mr. Parker stepped out, and he looked right at my teacher and said, Georgie boy. His name was George Sewell. He called him Georgie boy, because he used to go to the Pasadena school and work out. And he looked at me and says, is this Mr. Rich? And I was like, this man remembered my name.
Wow.
And I couldn't believe it was all that way. I've heard so many guys that had the opportunity, beat Mr. Parker, was tell me the same thing. He always knew your name, knew where you were at. In your training, you say, yeah, you got past brown belt or you got past green belt if he met you. And so he was impressive, very impressive. Joe Louis had the same way about him. That's amazing that somebody can have that much long-term memory on individuals. Because Mr. Parker ran a lot of people. So, yeah, he just had that aura about him. And his intelligence, what we're doing, he used to make a clear picture of that communication I talked about, of how things were to come together. And that's what made me really just want to be a part of this organization of Kenpo in the world. It was very educating, and that's what I am, an educator. As a teacher, I'm an educator, and we do that with my communication skills. And sometimes it's a little painful, but isn't life a little painful? As Joe Louis used to tell me, you got to build some tolerance up. If you're going to practice Kenpo in the real well and feel the real thing, you got to build some tolerance up. Because in the real fight, if you don't have that tolerance, you will be a snowflake. You won't last long.
Agree. Yes. Nice. Wow. Let's see. We have some other pictures here. Well, we have here with Grandmaster Mike Pick.
Oh, that was moving. Mr. Soto, when I was 15 years old, I was asked by Brian Hawkins, what is your goal in karate? We were all learning about goals. What is your goal in karate? And I see these guys wearing second, third. And I said, young, dumb kid, I go, I want to be A3 black belt in Kenpo Karate. And I always kept that in my mind. I want to be A3 black belt because,
Nice.
long time, nobody ever got past 7th degree black belt in Kenpo Karate.
Right.
He didn't promote people much over 7th degree, and I knew that for a fact. And when I 7 years ago, was in Lake Mary, Florida, at a seminar, Mr. Rainey Schultz and Steve Muhammad, good friends of mine.
Nice.
Mr. Pick promoted me to A3 black belt.
Nice.
I didn't know it was coming. All the years I've been out doing stuff, Mr. Pick knew a lot about me I did not know. He did a really serious background check on me. I don't know how he figured out some of the things he learned about me, but through Mr. Freeman and his dojo and Mr. Sean Kelly bringing us all together to make that happen, that was the most moving and goal setting for me. And he said, well, what's after that? I've hit my goal, I feel like. Anything after that, it's just bestowed as an honor. But I've reached that Zen moment in my martial arts, reaching a goal that I had in the back of my head for so many years. And it's humbling to somebody to say, you're at this level. Because I'm a white belt that never quit. I am not going to quit. So, yeah. So Mr. Pix is a very, very, very important man in my life. He's senior teacher to me because of the lineage I have through LeBounty and him and some others, Huck Polana, some other guys that I'm attached to my lineage. I was bestowed that rank, and I'm very honored.
Beautiful. Yeah, a lot of people of the new generations, my generation of teachers, don't appreciate that much the rank thing because rank changed. The delivery of rank. I don't want to get into politics, but it changed. Right. It did. It just did. And a lot of people don't know that 7th degree was the top rank for the guys, the seniors back then, or the senior students, and there were only a few of them when Mr. Parker was alive. So I appreciate because I like history, of course, and I like knowing the facts, and it's so cool that you got to say you were going to get an 8th degree, and you did. All those years later.
Well, it's just something you wear.
Of course.
A lot of people get caught up in the moment. We live in that McDonald's world. It's a happy meal. You get everything real quick and instant, and that's not the way martial art was intended to be.
No.
It's a lifetime thing. For I was told, we're 1%ers, out of 1,000 that get to black belt, and it's even less after that. But it's a knowledge that you learn over the years, and so to say, you're blah blah level, I was always amazed with Richard Huck Polanis. He was straight black belt everywhere he went. And I said, well, what is your rank? He said, what does it matter? Can I do the techniques? Can I teach you how to do those techniques? And so the ribbon that we wear, and that's what it is, a ribbon, is unimportant really. For those of like myself and like you, it's not that important anymore. Can I communicate this to another person to be at that level? I always ask everybody, when I do that, come to my level. And now, brother, we can really work on things. We do that.
Beautiful. Beautiful. I like that. Thank you for sharing, sir. Let's see. We have a couple more comments. Cynthia Menendez says, wow, it's incredible how he transmits his passion and love for martial arts. It must be great to receive a class with Master Terry. Wow, his energy is incredible.
Thank you, Miss Cindy. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Kevin Fredrickson, greetings, gentlemen. Greetings, sir.
Salute.
Danny Arnold, good morning, fellas. I'm listening while on the road.
Okay. Oh, yes. I'm aware of that, gentleman.
Cool. I hope you're not driving. Just don't be watching. Just listen. Okay. Well, great. Wow, this is so cool. And yes, I don't think the rank is it's the important thing. I think the achievement, right? And right. What it means to you. And that's why I'm trying to say the difference between what it was back then and what it is right now. And yes, a lot of people are in a rush. I mean, they're just in a rush with everything, not just martial arts, with just everything, or food. So to take your time to develop your skills and to get to that level, and when you get to meet all those, legends like Mr. Parker or Mr. Lewis or Mr. Norris, all of those guys, or Mr. Muhammad, and Mr. Pick as well, and to be able to get to that level and to get recognition from them. I mean, it's so cool. What I say always is rank only means to the relationship between your sensei or your instructor and the student itself. That's what I believe.
I tell everybody, the belt that's on your waist, half of that belongs to you and half of it belongs to me. That's how we're joined together and we're linked together. And always in asking you to come to another level, I challenge you to come to another level, and we're going to do that at an easy time. We're not going to make a big hurry about it because, it's a mountain to climb. One rock at a time. You learn something every rock you crawl over. So going up the mountain is a lesson, and going down the mountain is a lesson. One of the things I wanted to talk about today before we run out of time.
Oh, yes, of course.
My next endeavor, and this is something that means a lot to me. I hooked up with Master Sean Kelly many years ago, over 38 years ago. We've been buddies since. And I've been to a lot of the Florida camps he's put on and introduced me to a lot of people. I mean, people I thought I'd never meet. He has been a venue to allow me to meet these other people out there and learn from them. We've got a big event coming up this year, which I'm in part of again. I taught twice at the thing. And my buddy Bill Wallace is there. I've either taught in front of him or taught after him. Teaching after him, man, people wore out. But we've got several people that's coming. Mr. Jeff Speakman, this is to the Zen camp. He's been to the Florida camp before, but he's the Zen camp he's coming at this year. We're all excited to be around him.
Nice.
There's a few people coming that I'm really looking for. So this thing that he put on with Mr. Schultz, the Zen thing, me and him had this conversation. You're at this level, how do you deal with all the injuries you had and all the stress you dealt with for so many years? What does Zen mean to you? Well, I looked that up. I Googled it, as everybody says. I wanted to know. And it's actually come from a religious background of Zen. Mm-hmm. And a place in your life that you're comfortable with, and how to deal with the injuries that you've seen, the busted ribs and the poke in the eye and the joints and stuff that you've pulled muscles in, or hurt yourself sparring. And how do you deal with that? How do you keep that from turning off and make you walk away? Or maybe the person that walked away and you feel like you want to put your gi on again and come back out here. Well, when you get this zen that we talk about, it's a place where you feel comfortable with
Okay.
mentally, physically, and spiritually. And so these people that are on this seminar tour we do with the Zen and Kempo in Florida every year, you're going to be around people, or you get to meet people that have been there. Look at Bill, boy, 77 years old, still out there kicking,
Wow.
punching, doing full splits, encouraging people with communications. And that's my thing. Uh, how to physically do something, but how to downtime, how to relax. That was something my martial art training helped me with that big time from the stress I dealt with law enforcement. I've been murder scenes and other things that were really terrible to deal with, and come home and relax. Let some of that go. It's difficult without that zen that I learned from my martial arts, how to calm, breathe correctly, close your eyes, relax. Sometimes just go sit on a porch. I'm fortunate to get to live out in the country, and I don't have a bunch of stuff around me, houses and cars, and just relax. I get that question quite often from law enforcement officers. You look so calm, relaxed all the time. You can't carry that stuff with you every day. So that inner feeling, inner being, you have to become in touch with that.
Nice.
And you just got to sit down and meditate about it a little bit. Get comfortable, and just remember the body's just a tool. But the brain is the most important thing that we train. I ask my kids, what's between your ears? They don't know. It's your brain. What's it for? Thinking and solving problems. So if the yin and the yang, you just can't have all yin. You got to have the yang too. So you got to have the day and the night. You got to have the calm and stress. You got to deal with it. And so how you find that way to deal with it is something you have to work at a long time. And so my martial art trainings helped me learn to do that, to keep more calm, not get so upset about things. And this camp is full of people that have done that and express it and tell their way of doing it. You see. So we're excited about February 17th through 19th in West Palm Beach, Florida, for all our CKF members to be there, and those are non-members come. We have people of Kung Fu, Arnis, Taekwondo to come to experience this. It's a little different than the Florida camps that we used to have. Florida camps were huge. Oh my gosh, it would be 200, 300 people at these things.
Wow.
This is something that not talked about much. How to deal with yourself in a stress situation and become humble and relaxed. This is one of the things we do. So we, motivators. That's what I like about the camp. It's about people motivating people.
Nice. Nice. Thank you, sir. We have a couple more comments here. Jose Guadalupe Rosales, saludos from Mexico City, from Profesores Rosales. Excellent show. Much success. Gracias, profesores. Saludos. Norman Jensen says, another picture from the day Master Rich received his 8.
Yeah, Norman. Yeah.
Sean Gordon says, great advice.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much, sir. This was amazing. Thank you for your time and for your wisdom and sharing all your knowledge and your passion. And definitely. And before we go, I gotta ask 2 things. If somebody wants to get in touch with you, go to your studio there, where you're at. How can they reach you? And the other thing is, if you have a final message for our viewers and the people that are listening.
You can go to Carolina Kenpo Karate Alliance and make contact with me there. I'm on Facebook. You can find me at Terry Rich. Not a problem. My final thing I would like to say, never, ever give up. Whatever your endeavor may be, if you have your heart into something, put your heart into it and never, ever give up. My martial arts has taught me that. Those that are willing to work hard at what they do and never give up will achieve their goals of life.
Well, thank you so much for today, sir. This was amazing. It was an honor talking to you and meeting you through this. I hope to meet you in person one day, sir.
I hope so too. Thank you, sir.
You take care. And thank you, everybody, for watching this today. Let's see, we have one more comment. Kevin says, thank you for sharing. Thank you, sir. And thank you, everybody, for watching and for making your comments here. We really appreciate this. You guys have a great day and great weekend. And we'll see you next week with more coffee and martial arts. Thank you, sir. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.
Bye.
I'm there.